In this video, we're going to focus on a viewer's question on how to assign colors in a chart based on the value in Chart.js. Alright, so what we have really here is basically this. It's supposed to be value dependent, whatever color it will assign. And this was a question which was basically matched with some other questions. And there was on this one here, this was part number 2. And I also had a part 1 on this, on how to create a stack bar chart with data sets stacked on top of each other with multiple colors. So this was a part of this, and eventually here special thank you for Tutor Plus for asking this question, which was also connected, and then here it was a continuation of it. He was giving here a sample of his data here, and it was the following he said, because I created already a chart which was a stacked chart based on part 1 and part 2. And here after he was referring to, you only have a single data set where the data is an array of numbers, but in the above example I am passing a variable. So is it possible to change the color when the dynamic val reaches certain threshold? Would like to see multiple colors when dynamic val reaches a certain threshold, similar to the stack bar but without using stack options in Chart.js. Alright, so probably with this here, it's I assume here that you don't want to make a stack option, but if you do want, and without the stack option here, I would say to check the histogram. But if you're looking at it from just making a basic bar chart and give it a color, depending on the value here, that will be very straightforward. Alright, so to do this, we're going to work, and here what you really need to do is understanding arrays. So let's work on this first. What I want to do here, and if I talk about the histogram chart, I would highly recommend you to watch this series here covering, I have 3 videos here and it covers everything. It's very interesting as well. Alright, so now let's start and go, and what I need is here, sorry, I need this one here. Let's go back to Chart.js here. I'm going to make a basic chart here. I'm going to grab this all, and then once I have this, I'm going to put it in here, give it a proper indentation, and in here what I want to do is the following. I'm going to put in this here, put in some enters, give this a div, so we're going to nest this div, and this will be a class because we want to give it a fixed, basically a fixed height or fixed width in our case. So we say here chart box class. We will nest this canvas here, and the reason why we want to do that is to avoid that this will scale into infinity. So we say here another is a style, and basically here we say chart box class, so dot chart box here with 700 pixels. Alright, save this here, go back here to Chart.js, and in here we need to get the when we click on getting started, we get the Chart.js library. Going to put it in here, and once we put this in here, put it in there. Alright, then we start to save this, refresh, there we are. So what I have understood, if I'm not mistaken, because I realized that I maybe misunderstood your question, is probably, let's say we have different colors here. Or sorry, we have different values here. If you have 30, if we have, let's say 50, we have 75, we have again another, or let's say 55, this will be 60, and this will be 15. And what we want to do here, based on the values, we should get a other color depending on it. So this is basically what you're asking here, is more a focus on arrays. This is really important. Arrays is really useful, and in our case this here I want to play around with it. So let's go and create arrays here. To do this I need to create a constant here, and this constant we can just call data. That's basically this. I'm going to grab this here. Very straightforward. I'm going to grab this and I'm going to change this here. Once we have this, the next thing what we need to do here is work with arrays. What we need to do is we want to compare this, and then we want to push it in a background color basically. We have border color and background color, so we just do one or the other. And that's what we're going to do here. So what we're going to do here is the following. We're going to say here, we're going to create a new array, and this new array will be called background color, or we say constant. I say background color is the letter C without capitalized letter. Y, I want to avoid maybe having any conflict with this item here, although it probably will not have, but It's fine for now. This is fine. So here, this is an array blank. Let me say here we create an if function. And this if function needs to loop through this here. So we say here first a for loop. So we say here for, and here we say I. So we iterate. Iterate means repeating. So we say here first of all we set this on 0, the I or the loop. That's how we call it iteration, and or another word for iteration is a loop, doing something consistently. So we say here repeating ourselves as long as the I is smaller than the data dot length. As y dot length, basically this is the length here. Once we have that, then we can say here I incrementally increases 1 value, so incremental increasing. Once we have this, now we can start to work with it. So what we're going to do here? Well, basically it's this. We're going to do a comparison. The comparison is an if statement. The if statement is based on this here. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to make this one here. So we say here the following. I'm just going to put this there. Then we say if. So if data value I, which is of course this here. So the first one will be 30 then. So if data versus this is smaller than 40, in this case we'll say here, basically is the color red, or let's put in here. Then we can say here push. Oh, sorry, background color. We want to push the array. If you want to understand what is push, I would highly recommend you to check my array series about Chart.js. It's all on YouTube. You can search it immediately if you go to my channel. You can find the array series, besides the histogram series probably. So here we push. What are we going to push here? Well, we're going to push the color that we want to use. In our case, it's the color red. Alright, so once we have this, that's fine. Then we do exactly the same, but now we do another one. We do now here is the following, which is if it's equal or 40 or equal to 40, bigger than 40 or equal to 40, and then we say and it is, and data I, so we have to repeat this again, is smaller than 70. In this case, we will push the color yellow. Alright, so once we have this, then the final one is eventually here. Oh, sorry, I realized that I copied on the wrong position. Let's put this all back, put it in here. Then we will be following here, the final one is also if. So I don't use if else on purpose, because you can see if else would make it harder and harder to read. Well, if you just look at this, in one line you immediately know what's going on here. With if else you can create so many nested statements within each other, it will create a whole mess. So don't do that. If you can do it with just with this, it's better. So here's the following. Here, if data I is larger or equal, we need to make it also or equal to 70, in that case we will say background color push green. And then once we have this, we probably will have our exact item here. So what we could do here is we can get this here, and now I'll just say here the background color. What I'm going to do is this background color, because this is the constant. Remember, that's this constant here. Let's go in console log just to see how this looks like. If I save this now, go back here, refresh, right? Open up developer tab to see if we have our colors. You can see we get array of 6. First one was yellow, over red, sorry, that's correct. And then we have 50. So it's between 30 and 70, it's yellow, then green, because this one is 75, that's correct. Then we have here yellow. Yes, here again yellow, because this is 60, not it's between. And here below 40 is 15. Alright, so this is basically what we need. So now we have this. Let's copy this. Put it in here in the background color. And here as well, we can do it for the border color as well. And once we did this and save this, we should have now colors matching. Alright. So now we have this, and imagine here we would have another one. Let's change this a bit more. Let's do this 10. Let's do this 55. Well, we already had 55, but that doesn't matter. And let's make this 70 exact. This will be 75 and 95. Let's save this. And now there you are. So basically with this, you have your item here. Because what you have to do is you have to make a for loop to compare it. Exactly the same. And this is how you need to do it. Make sure you watch the array series to understand this more, because with arrays you can do so much more. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you enjoy this video, you probably will enjoy this one as well. And if you're interested in Chart.js, check out in the description box the link directing to my Chart.js course, where you can learn everything about Chart.js. And finally, of course, make sure you subscribe to my channel.